Do you know what upsets me? What really rustles my jimmies? What comes to my house on my imaginary son's 5th birthday wearing a clown suit after I specifically told them not to and says, "Hey, Astro, guess who's down to clown?" And I'm like, "No, go away, my son is allergic to clowns," but they don't because they're terrible and awful and I hate them with the same passion that some people feel for pineapple pizza and telemarketers. YouTubers who do that thing where they're like, "Hey, look, I'm making good progress on this house I built. Don't forget to like and subscribe and mail me your firstborn child." And then they come back in the next video and say, "Oh, hey, I did some building off camera. Hope you don't mind. Thanks for mailing me your baby, by the way." And it looks like this. And I just can't. Well, guess what? I have embraced my inner YouTuber. I did some building off camera. I am one with the darkness. Please send help. So I accidentally did that thing that people on YouTube do where they say, "Oh yeah, I just did a little bit of building off camera," and then when they cut back, there's been a lot of work done. And I don't know, I got in a little bit of a groove yesterday, and after I stopped recording, I thought, hey, I'll just build, just a couple little small things, nothing much, and then I'll record the rest of the building process in full. Well, I did a little more than the small amount of building I intended to do. On the bright side, I think that it looks really good. This is really what I had in mind. Just a little bit of progress has been made here. I recorded making the stairs and the body of it and that pointed part in the front, but I came back later and did these little side towers with the little domes. And then like the main little double dome thing in the center, with that big arched window in the front. I think that's going to look really good. So I apologize for not getting good recordings of all that process. But hopefully you guys can forgive me. I was thinking about it. I was trying to figure out what that shape reminds me of, besides the pointy part of Minas Tirith and the Lord of the Rings. And I realized it actually looks a lot like the ice-breaking prow, I think that's what they call it, that's on boats sometimes. They have some of the really big boats that have to deal with ice have like this sort of blade-shaped structure on the front of the boat to kind of crack icebergs apart, I guess, or something like that. Maybe just push things out of the way. I don't know. I don't really know a lot about boats, but that's what it reminds me of. So I think we're going to do a little more work here today. Obviously, these colors are not the final colors, just in case you were wondering why this building looks like it's out of a 80s cartoon. It's not going to remain this color, but I think that now we have the shape of the building really laid out. I think that's less necessary, so we can probably move ahead to using the real blocks, which brings me to my next point of order. I need to decide what kind of blocks I want to use. I want this gate and also the clockyard in general to have a different color scheme from the rest of the city. I think it's important to kind of recognize the fact that this area is not technically part of the Enorian Empire. It's not something that's controlled by the king, and because of that, I want the colors to not be... I don't want to do this with the quartz and the prismarine that I've been doing with a lot of the other buildings. I want this to be something different. I think it'd be nice if we had some very distinctive colors. And really, what it comes down to is I have to figure out exactly what colors I want those to be. I'm leaning right now a little bit. I do kind of like the gold. I think I might try and incorporate some gold. It feels kind of rich and fancy. The other thing is I'd like to maybe use pink or red as a roof color in here to sort of offset from the prismarine that we've used everywhere else to make this really stand out. But we'll have to see. I think the main body of this building is probably going to be made out of some mixture of stone because I like the gray. I think gray is a good neutral color, but we definitely want to spice that up with some other colors. we also probably want to think a little bit about how this connects up with whatever little town is down here. My guess would probably be we build sort of like a stone brick wall just around here, and then fill the base of it with some sort of, surface to walk on, some sort of street material, and then we'll build buildings on top of that and have it connect to this bridge. I think that's probably the safest option. But we don't want this, we want it to feel like the city is directly connected to this town, that this town sprung up because there's a gate to the city here, and not the other way around. The other thing I was curious about is this stairway is really rickety. I was sort of wondering if there would be a way that we could connect the staircase up, to here. And I don't know if that's going to be possible. It's just such a steep incline. I think it might facilitate the switchbacks being a necessary part of the process. It's a little wild. I don't know if it's a bad thing. Having this stairway kind of carved into the mountainside, it's not a terrible thing. It's a little strange. But honestly, I think maybe we should leave it because I think it gives things character. I think with that, we're probably just about ready to start replacing the concrete with actual colored blocks. Okay, we've painted most of this building. It's all somewhat more boring now without all the bright colors, but that's okay. Eventually, we will replace the smooth stone with a textured mix, probably. But for now, I think smooth stone is a good base. It's a good place to start. This is actually an interesting color for the roofs. I think I might try something with that. It's magenta, crimson planks, purple terracotta, stripped crimson hyphae. Interesting. Okay, let's take a step back, see what we think. I actually really like that color. Yeah, I think we found our color. That is, it's a good mix. It looks kind of mottled too. We got a good mixture of different things going on. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we're going to grab some gold, and we're going to go through and figure out where the gold is going to go. I think it's okay for this area to look a little bit gaudy, because I think that's kind of part of what we're going for. We want this place to look rich, but old money instead of new money. This is an institution, because this is the Conclave Arcana, which is something that's been around for many, many, many thousands of years, and they exist all over the continent. This is like the Grand Mage Council, so to speak. Trying to get more used to using tools for this kind of stuff. So I think, when it comes down to it, that's going to be learning how to get really comfortable with these tools and use them often is going to really help me do things more efficiently. The only way you get better is to practice. Practice makes perfect, as they say. That is very fancy looking. I was a little nervous that the gold would look overpowering, but I think it actually adds kind of makes it look very, I guess majestic is an okay word for that. It's just, it's just the right amount of fancy, I guess. That's what I'm saying. I think this is a really cool color scheme. It's very different than anything else we have in the city right now. I think a lot of what we're doing right now is just trying to make sure that the building feels like everything is connected to everything else. Because a lot of time when you build things like this, you build it in such a way that it feels like sometimes like a lot of little separate things that just happen to be kind of stacked on top of each other. But we're looking for cohesion. we want this building to feel like it was built, you know, all as one singular solid structure all at the same time. One of the best ways to accomplish that feeling of cohesion is to just add details that really bind everything together, that blend the lines between the different shapes, you know. So we have this sort of little band of color around sort of the, I don't know, the top of the building, or maybe it's around the neck kind of the building. But we don't want that to feel separate from this bottom base part. So we blend it. We add a little bit of, you know, we add a line of this smooth stone that kind of makes that transition less square. And that gives us a much better shape, and it helps us, you know, it helps the build feel like, you know, it was smoothed out, and people really took the time to make sure that it looked the way, you know, that it looks the way it does for a reason. You know, already from back here we can see it looks like there's kind of a stone arch built in right around here, if you can see where my cursor is. Same thing here, we've got sort of an arch shape. And, you know, if we get enough of those going on, we end up with a very smooth shape that just kind of looks intentional. It looks like an architectural design thing, even if it's not. Okay, we made a lot of progress today. It went from being a crazy cartoon-colored structure to being slightly more majestic. I really like the color theme that we've got going on here. I think it looks really good. I really like this roof color and the roof pattern. I like the gold trim. I think the stonework's not bad either. It's got a bit of that red in it from the dead coral blocks that I think really does a nice job of highlighting the pink colors we have in the windows and in the roofs. So I think overall very nice. Hey guys, post-editing Astro here. I just wanted to pop in and say thank you all so much for your support for the channel, the Instagram page, and all of the streams in the past few weeks. It has been such a great pleasure to meet you guys, and I really hope that we can continue to grow this little community together. At the time of making this video, we are at 323 subscribers, which is just like an insane number, honestly. I keep checking my account throughout the week because I can't believe that this little project that it has so many people who are interested in seeing what we do here in this city. Thank you so much from myself and the rest of the Illias team. You really don't know what it means to us.